Thank you so much for tuning into Culture Fix. Today I am joined by one of the stars of Rogue Traders, Jamie Appleby, who has given us anthems such as Voodoo Child, Watching You, and To the Disco. Rogue Traders return with an eagerly awaited new album, Midnight Alarms, containing bangers such as LoveDrunk and Take You Down. I cannot wait, as I said, to talk about the new album, and I don't know how
Yep.
much you can say because we're still quite early.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I might reveal some stuff to you today, Andrew. Who knows? I'm feeling like there's going to be tea. That's what I'm feeling like.
Good. Well, that's what we want. We need some exclusives. We'll film that for TikTok. That'll get everyone in. But I would love to start with Love Drunk because that arrived a
Yep.
few weeks ago, and that
Mm.
hits like a sledgehammer. What a song!
Yeah.
It's just to use that overused term, it's a banger, but
Yeah.
it really is. What was the spark behind that track?
Well, obviously, before we sit down and decide what tracks we're going to release in what order, we look at them all, and you assemble them all and you listen to them all and we have long discussions. And it was obvious to us that Love Drunk would be a song that would probably get, our fans excited. We love it because hopefully it sounds like us, but also hopefully it's us now. Which is always, that hard thing to balance. So, in the intervening years, there's been so much amazing music and a lot of development in pop. And so, of course, I've been listening to, the Charlies and the Carolines and the Sophies and the most amazing, exciting new pop music that's been, with us for some time now. So I wanted to make sure that we felt that we were doing something that was very bold and right up front. So we had this song Love Drunk, but we were like, we can't do it first. We just can't do it first. The first track has to kind of people go, what the hell? We got to sort of subvert expectations a little bit. So we always plan to do Love Drunk second, and it does feel like obvious is perhaps not quite the right word, but it feels like the inevitable, big Road Traders song. So, but the truth of the matter is, Andrew, is that, this is our first new album material in a long time. So we need to let people know that we're here. And of course, the way that music works these days is very different to, when we put Voodoo Child out. Back then, you get radio play and you'd build up a profile and a story, and then you'd release a single, and maybe it would last for 3 or 4 months if you were lucky, and then you would come back with the next. Now it's just bang, 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 bang. So we wanted to have a track before that we were really excited about that would hopefully get people's expectations and go, that's Rogues. Okay, that's cool as shit.
Yeah.
Which is I mean, I'm kind of leaning into the first single now, Take You
But
Down,
it was almost like a kind of Goldfrapp track. There was just something
yeah.
quite like
Oh,
enigmatic and quite
yeah.
different for you guys, but also really quite welcome as well. And I think it's
Yeah.
nice you've balanced kind of the bombastic sort of
Mm.
Love Drunk with something a bit kind of darker and a bit edgier as well. So it's cool to have that
And
mix.
and you absolutely hit the nail with Goldfrapp, because I'm a massive fan, and absolutely we were listening to Alison's new album and going, wow, the grooves on this are incredible. So we definitely wanted to have that kind of feel, but it was exciting for us because to explore that kind of tempo as well. I mean, it's still a 4 to the floor track, but it's just over 100 beats per minute, where Love Drunk is 134.
It feels it.
So yeah. And I remember at the last minute going, oh, it's too fast. I'm like, no, it's not too fast. And we played it live now. We played it at the Grand Prix here in
Nice.
Melbourne a few days ago, and we played it there, and it just ripped. And it's not a time to be subtle, Andrew. You just got to go out there and be bold.
Absolutely. This is the thing. People want to know you're back, and what a way to show
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to go out there and you've got to plant your flag. So yeah, and look, we're so excited about the record too. I'm sure we'll get to all of that. But to answer your question, yes, we always knew Love Drunk was a little shiny special baby, and we knew it would be a shot out there that would hopefully let people know that we're back. But we just didn't want to necessarily go with it first. We needed to let people know we were here.
And
And that this kind of story, this narrative will continue over the next couple of weeks, as you will
Okay.
see.
Well, I love the fact that you were pretty quick off the mark going from Take You Down into Love
Mhm,
Drunk, because it was in less
mhm.
than a month, wasn't it, between the two
Yep,
songs?
yep,
Do you
yep.
think that's part of, the streaming era that we just have to keep going and keep people's attention?
Yes, I do. I do think that's part of it, Andrew. And that is part of the reality that we are living in now. Um, and also, as I mentioned, for us, returning now, we have to sort of remind people that first of all, that we're still making music, and that secondly, hopefully, people go, "Oh shit, it's really good," because we are really proud of what we've done with this next album. I think it's our best record. And that does too. And it's easy for me to give you hyperbole, but I will tell you that most musicians don't normally feel that way about the music that they make.
That's
Normally, they're
interesting.
uncomfortable with it, or
Yeah.
I mean, I was listening to some of my earlier stuff yesterday, going, "Oh my god,
Really? That's
what are we
interesting.
doing?"
And is that quite tough, I suppose, when you have maybe fans that have a personal connection to these tracks and maybe like them
Mm.
more than you guys do?
And that's very true.
Yeah.
That is very true. I mean, I won't speak upon particular tracks, but there are songs that we've done live that are not our favorites to perform live. We enjoyed recording them, but I think when you record them, it's a very different experience to performing them. And yeah, so yeah, you're always trying to find that kind of balance and energy. But having new songs to perform live is the most fun.
Mhm.
So this is like a little kid and you've got new friends to play with. It's
Yeah.
like let's go, and that feels so exciting.
I think as well as an audience member, it is quite. I like hearing new stuff. There's something
Mm.
about you can listen to a song, in your headphones or through your speakers or whatever, but it's something about seeing it in the live setting really can bring it to life as well. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
always nice, I think, to hear a mix of new ones in there. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh,
yeah.
they want the hits," but actually, I think to have the new stuff in there is good.
Well, if they just want the hits are there. They're not
Yeah,
going anywhere.
yeah,
And when we perform live, we still play all those songs, of course. But we don't, we're not beholden to that. So as artists, we want to keep creating. We want to keep trying to keep ourselves excited.
yeah,
And so new music will always be a part of what we've done. I just think it's incredible that it's just taken us this long, and I can't get my head around that. But Love Drunk is a song that has existed in some form for quite a few years.
oh, really.
Yeah. So originally it was a song that myself and my wife Melinda wrote for another artist
Hmm.
in a very different form to what it is now. And it didn't quite work there. And then we tried it a couple of years ago, it didn't quite work there. But we always knew, that there was something special there. And I mean, even with Voodoo Child, the version that everyone knows now is like the 10th top line, the 10th song that we wrote over the top of that music.
That's crazy.
So there's all these other versions of that song there's versions with me singing stuff on it and other people singing stuff and you just these things evolve, but it's like you're just panning for gold.
Mhm.
It's literally that, and you're like, yeah, there's definitely a glint here. You've got to keep
Yeah.
going and going. I'm always jealous of those artists that say, oh yeah, we wrote this song in 10 minutes. you know
But do they? This is
did
this is something I
they?
wonder. But as much as I love Dolly Parton and people like that, when they say they wrote "I Will Always Love You" in 8 minutes, you think, Dolly, did you?
Maybe she, well, look, Dolly can do
But to
anything,
be fair,
so
yeah,
maybe she did. Maybe she did. And sometimes the ideas come quick and you go, yes, that's it. And they're a joy. But a lot of them, oh, they're laborious,
yeah,
But I think, I don't want to talk about the whole AI thing, but one of the things that AI does, which is not great, is it removes that struggle.
mhm,
And I think that struggle is essential. The fact that it's unpleasant sometimes to create or to be doubting yourself and to be trying to come up with new forms and all of that. That's part of the human experience, and to take that away from yourself, I think, is denying yourself of the satisfaction of the experience.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, Midnight Alarms, you mentioned that there's maybe a little bit of kind of something a bit unexpected, and then maybe something,
Mm,
but we're just as a sort of pattern that goes through the album.
mm.
What can you tell me? What songs are you excited for the world to hear that you haven't released yet?
Well, I'm really excited about the next one. and the one after that. So I can tell you that. And I'm very excited about the album too. Look, I guess again, it's about us. The first one was about trying to surprise people a little bit. The second one was about, delivering full-throated Rogue Traders. Here we are. The next one is again a change up, and probably unlike any song that we've done before, and is very, as the kids say, liminal. It's got a lot of atmosphere, and it's definitely definitely a song to listen to in the car at night.
Okay.
Yeah, and we will start teasing that very soon. And it's a kind of moment that we haven't had much of in this band.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it's like a power ballad or anything like that, but it's a contained moment. Look, we had In Love Again on our first album had a very wonderful, unique kind of atmosphere to it. And on Better in the Dark, there's a song called What You're On, which also had a very, moody kind of similar contained atmosphere. And this, not that it sounds like either of those songs, but we're saying something different. We're expressing a different emotion and feeling with this track, with this next one, because again, we want to keep people guessing, and there's one after that as well. So,
At what point do you then think it's time for the album? Do you have a kind of set number
oh
of
no, we
release
know it. We
tracks in your
know.
head? You've
Oh
got
no, we
something
know
mapped out?
exactly. Yeah, it's all planned out. It was all planned out in November of
Oh,
last
wow.
year. Everything's planned out. The videos are all done. Everything's ready. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's so we're absolutely on a mission right now, and that's super exciting, and that extends to not just the music but to our live work. And here in Australia, we're about to do a tour in May, our first proper tour for a long time.
Yeah, it's pretty expansive. I was looking at the dates.
Yeah,
You're around the country.
we're around the country, and we haven't even talked about the second half of the year. So, but I think it's all kind of crystallized into, let's really give this a right kick. Let's see, as they say in Australia, let's kick it in the dick. That's what they say.
That doesn't sound fun.
It doesn't sound fun. Whose dick are we kicking? Yeah, it doesn't sound fun at all. So the tour is aligned with the album, which is aligned with our releases, and so we're going. We're definitely really giving this year is our year for sure. So, and it's exciting, man, and it's one of those things where you go, geez, why did we wait this long? But also, everyone is kind of ready now as well, and you know, Nat's ready, the guys are ready, and I've already started working on the next album after this because I just love
You're
making
energized.
music, and I've got my folder with 13 ideas in it already. So we're ready to go. So yeah, it's an exciting time.
And do you feel better as a band now that time has passed and maybe you don't have the same pressure and
Mm.
it's on your terms, I guess?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Yeah, we're definitely having more fun than we've ever had. I think back in the day when we were having hits all over the place, you it's kind of every success that you have casts a shadow over everything else that you do. So obviously our biggest song was Voodoo Child, but then you do Watching You, and here in Australia it got to number 4 instead of number 3, and you're like, oh. And instead, like 20-year-old me would be like, what the fuck? Are you joking? This is incredible. So there's a kind of, almost like a diminishing return on it. And you also feel immense pressure to try and keep this wagon running. Now it's a very different feeling. Now we approach every show like it's our last show. We genuinely are so unbelievably grateful for this experience and what we have, and what the band provides for us. So yes, it is much more freeing. But that said, we do feel pressure still, not to put on a great show because that's just intrinsic in us, but more in the okay, we've done all this work on this music. We need people to hear it,
Yeah.
and we want to share this. So, but it's not like it was. No one's saying, "Oh, if you're not on Radio One high rotation, then this is a failure," because it's a totally different landscape now. For us, it's about re-engaging with our fans and going, "Here's a gift for you from us."
Yeah.
And we want to say thank you, and in return, they seem to be saying welcome back. So that's the goal. That's the energy exchange at the moment, which is just so wonderful.
Yeah, it must be interesting as you mentioned there because it's a different musical landscape now, and
Right.
but there's also a kind of a love of physical media has crept back in with obviously the vinyl
Hmm.
revival and things like that.
Yep.
Are you going to
Yep.
go down that route with the kind of the new album and potentially your older albums, give them that re-release treatment?
So, all right, I will give you an exclusive right now, Andrew. I can tell you that we are indeed doing vinyl on Midnight Alarms.
Nice.
I mean, I've got a garage full of vinyl here, but I hadn't bought a new record in a very long time, so I had to listen to it on the turntable, and my instant reaction was, "Oh my god, it sounds so different on here!" And I rang the pressing plant and said, "Can you just A/B it on a bunch of different things and make sure it's all pristine?" And went, "Yep, it's all great, everything's fine." So hearing the tracks run into each other, it all becomes very real.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this album we will be selling on the tour, and then eventually we'll be making it available to people. So yes, and down the track, of course, we will be looking at vinyl re-releases of the other records. And yeah, I don't know, there's something about it. Once it's on a physical piece of physical media, it sort of feels edified in some way.
Yeah.
So yes, we're excited to do that. And Midnight Alarms on vinyl exists already, and I can tell you there's 13 tracks on there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
And we've
yeah.
heard two of them.
You've heard
I
two of them.
I did
You've
want
heard
to.
you've heard To the Disco. I will tell you, To the Disco is on there as well.
I'm glad
Yeah,
that's on there. I really liked that track. I
yeah,
that kind of felt like you're back.
yeah,
Three years ago, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
That
glad that's
and
on there.
a slightly different version, but only very slightly. It'll feel a slightly different arrangement on for the album version. And I will tell you that we're not done with that song.
Oh,
Um, yeah, yeah, I will tell you that we're not done with that. That's all I'll say on that. But don't expect it to come out as a single anytime soon.
mm.
But we're not done with that one. And I can imagine us having another conversation in a few months, Andrew.
Okay.
So we'll see how that all lands, how that all plays out. So yes, To the Disco is on there. And there may or may not be a song actually called Midnight Alarms as well. So that's a little bit of tea.
Okay. Well,
Very
this
good.
is good. I feel I've got a
Yeah,
little checklist.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, on the flip side to vinyl, obviously the streaming age has a number of perks for artists as well with your the data that you can pull on listeners.
Mm.
And I when it comes to the website, I am a bit of a geek for the stats, and I do like to look at
Mm.
what posts are hitting and things like that. Are you
Love
the
that.
same with the Spotify stats and the
Mm.
data that you can pull from that?
I think, Andrew, if I was to show you my one of my Chrome browser windows right now, with the Rogues browser window's got, I think, 32 tabs, and there's three of them on the Spotify for artists looking at data, another one on Google Analytics looking at the website. So yes, I'm a massive nerd and I'm addicted to data and numbers and stats, and I do find it fascinating. And on that, it's interesting because initially, yes, we have a lovely blast in Australia, but then now we're seeing UK and America going rip, and they're starting to come up and meet it now, which is
Yeah, we're
very
always a wee bit
interesting.
slower, but we get there.
No, no. I mean, if we were releasing in the UK first, it would probably be different. But but can I tell you my one regret about the UK? And this kind of breaks my heart. I wish, and we didn't have the control over this, but when we did Voodoo Child, obviously we followed that up with Way to Go in the UK, which was for. Oh no, we followed it up with Watching You. Sorry, and or did we do Wait? I can't remember. Well, no, we did Watching You second. I wish that we had done In Love Again as a single in the UK. That was, and I don't believe anyone says, "Oh, I've never had any regrets." I wish we'd done In Love Again, because the whole, Tears for Fears thing and everything, it was,
Yeah.
it's kind of meant to be.
And that's
So now,
that's no,
sorry.
on you go. I was going to say, Tears for Fears are an act that are continually turn on radio too, and they're on it. So I think it would have worked really well.
Yeah, and when we do this song live, we have the video wall behind us, and when we cut to the la 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 la, we now cut to the video of them performing Head Over
Oh,
Heels
nice.
in sync with us. So as
Oh.
we're going la la la, they're singing it up on the screen behind us, and it is feels.
Hmm. Well, I was going to ask actually, and this may be a good point to ask is, you have obviously sampled a lot of iconic tracks as well.
Mm,
Were there
mm.
any that you had maybe worked with and thought this is great, and then try to get the approval and it was maybe knocked back?
Yeah.
As I
Oh
take that's
gosh.
quite a regular occurrence.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And in fact, even with Voodoo Child, I mean, Elvis Costello said no like 4 or 5 times. But in the end, our manager used to be a security guard in the music industry, so he was connected to the person that did Elvis's security, and in the end, he rang this guy up and said, "Hey, mate, can you just tell Elvis just to look at this email, please?" And because you've got to it's all about getting to the people.
Mm.
And so yes, there are lots of times when you work on stuff, and some of these things I won't mention which songs, but there's been lots over the years. But let me think about on the new record. I mean, it's only To the Disco that has a sample in it. Uh, and it's funny because here in Australia, this never happened in the UK, but in Australia, often people go, "Oh, you sampled this and this," and like it was like that's a bad thing. And I'm like, well, you do know that most of the Daft Punk records are samples, and
Yeah.
where do you want to go? I mean, it's part of my musical culture, listening to electronic music, and that's what we do. But never in the UK, never once did they go, "Oh, you sampled Elvis Costello." I'm like, yeah, we did, and believe me, he was well looked after. Believe me. And that's when Olivia Rodrigo came along and did Brutal, which was clearly, the same riff. And they didn't get it cleared, but he was fine with it. I'm like, wow, I wish I'd known that back then. We would have just put it out.
Do first, ask for permission later.
That's what they say, right? So yes, I do wish we'd done that. But yeah, actually I should, okay, how can I say this? There is another sample actually on the album, but I'm going to allow you to speculate here. It's not from a song, it's from a TV show.
Are we talking TV theme?
No dialogue.
Oh, okay.
Um,
And are we thinking current or kind of more nostalgic, vintage?
Classic, but
You know,
with a
the,
strong connection to the band. We'll just say that you'll have a think about it, and you might get it later.
well,
So yeah, there is, yeah, there are two samples. One of them's To the Disco, obviously, which was a song called Walk the Night, which was like a classic like queer anthem in the late 70s.
nice.
And then there's a vocal sample from a TV show. Let's just say that. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be that guy that says neighbors for home and away because then
No, it's
the
not
call gets
that.
ended.
No, no, a very strong UK connection, I will
See,
say.
obviously Doctor Who is the obvious one because that was such an iconic moment, and I feel a lot of people my age that was the moment where Rogue Traders were like a big thing. Okay, okay. Well, say no more. Say no more.
Say no
Um,
more. Maybe or maybe not.
well, on the subject of May, you are heading out on tour in May.
Yes.
What can fans expect if they've not seen Rogue Traders live? What can they expect from that live experience?
Um, we really try and over deliver and defy expectations, and that, oh god, that sounds shit, doesn't it? What I mean is that we genuinely go out there and we attack each show like it is our last show. So our mantra is energy, and because I'm a DJ as well, DJing is an exchange of energy. You're dictating the feel and the pace of the room. You're sending it out there, and they're giving it back. So it's this reciprocal whirlpool of energy. We are as excited to see the crowd, if not more, than they are to see us. So we get out there, we're buzzing like, 5-year-olds, doing our first dance recital. Nat and I are so silly. The other two boys are a bit more, a bit more stoic. But Nat and I are so silly and camp, and we're having so much fun backstage. So we translate that straight out. We literally have like 2 Red Bulls before we go on stage. Seriously, one of them might have vodka in it, and then it's just on. So for us, yeah, it's about giving people exactly what they want, but also trying to kind of exceed their expectations. Not just they were good. It's like, oh shit, man, like they were really good. I mean, like we did a gig last week, a few days ago with Rita Ora, and again, and our intention was go out there and make people go, oh shit, they weren't just good, they were fantastic. And so we're constantly trying to up the expectations that we have on ourselves. So yes, you will hear all the songs that you want to hear. There will be surprises, and of course we will be playing the new songs as well. But yeah, I guess our intention is 100% locked in on just giving the best show we can give. So that's what you can expect.
And you mentioned the first half of the year is booked out. Europe and the UK, hey, we're here.
Listen.
We would love to see you.
Well, we did Hoopla here in Australia a couple of weeks ago, which was great. And there were discussions after that. So that's where we'll leave that for now. But yes, I mean, UK is a big thing for us, and it has been a long time since we've played in the UK. So we did that Girls Aloud tour a long time ago.
Is that the 10 tour?
Might have been. Yeah, I think it was. It was a long time ago, and that was fun. And we did some side shows, but we're ready. We want to do it, and I think the thing is because it's an expensive trip for us. We need to make sure that we can do a bunch of shows just to cover the cost of it. But it's well and truly on our radar. Let's just say that, Andrew.
Well, another thing that's currently on my radar with regards to Australian music, you'll have heard the Delta Goodrum is representing Australia at Eurovision.
Yes.
Which is a really big deal because I know the fans have wanted her for a long time.
Yes.
Hearing the new music, part of me thought that would really go off in
Eurovision.
And do you think that's maybe something that Rogue Traders would ever consider? Because
I'll be honest with you, it has never ever come up, but I've thought about it heaps, and I would love to do it. It's funny because watching Eurovision, in the UK, here in Australia, and obviously, we've got a fine tradition of, doing really badly, or the UK I'm talking about. And, I try and explain to them how it's almost like a badge of honor when we get no points, like nil point. It's like, that's a, we represent.
You've done it so well that it's, or so badly that it's almost quite cool.
That's right. So, it's like in the UK, we're pretty comfortable about our musical heritage. So this is all, but anyway, yes, I actually would love to do it. So I've got no idea how it works. How that whole thing comes together, who knows, but I would love to do it. But I think, it's important that, Delta is one of our, most special, unique artists, and with an incredible career in the UK and here in Australia. And I think, it's hard to imagine anyone being a better representative. And then other years, it should be people that, are unknowns or are just breaking. It needs to be, I think, a balance so that there are opportunities for everybody, not just for Bonnie Tyler to come out again. Not saying that Delta's anything like that. But if the opportunity were to come our way, most definitely, Andrew, I would love to. And I can think of 3 songs on our album right now that would be perfect for Eurovision.
Well, you'll need to message after and let me know if we're aligning with the kind of the Eurovision expectations. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think it would be a match made in heaven. I really do.
Yeah, because I mean, we're a band who we don't take ourselves too seriously, but we take our music very seriously, um, and and we're about energy and joy, and that's Eurovision, right? So that's it feels like a fit.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your day, but I would just love to wrap up with some quick fire questions.
Yeah,
Nothing
sure,
too
sure.
tricky. Yeah. So, favorite Rogue Trader song to play live?
Right now it's Love Drunk, but it has changed over the years. Number 2 is To the Disco, and number 3 is Voodoo Child.
Nice. What is a song that gets you on the dance floor? Doesn't have to be a Rogue Trader song.
What's a song that gets me on the dance floor? Gee, there are so many. Oh my gosh. That's a very hard one. As a DJ, I mean, I'm thinking about getting other people on the dance floor. But okay, so this is a deep cut, but Dub Tribe Sound System Do It Now.
Okay.
That's probably my favorite house record of all time.
What was the first gig you ever went to?
First gig I ever went to, proper gig, was I saw the Prodigy perform in South London somewhere. It might have been Streatham Ritzy or something like that, about 91.
Wow.
And that was literally just a bunch of people running around on stage. And yeah, so that was probably it, I would say. I was sneaking in. I was probably 16, 17, and this is back in the day when you have to wear a shirt and tie to the nightclub. Oh my god! Just before rave went national, and then it didn't matter after that. But yeah, probably Prodigy, I would think.
That's a good one to start with.
Yeah,
Where do you go from
yeah,
there?
yeah.
What is one word to describe Midnight Alarms?
Epic.
Mm,
I
sounds
think.
good.
I hope you think so too. But I think epic.
And what are 3 words to describe Rogue Traders in 2026?
Energized, focused, and ready.
That is an exciting note to end on. I really appreciate you giving your time. It's been such a joy to chat, and I'm
Oh, it's my
really genuinely
pleasure.
excited about the things to come. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Andrew.